September 30th, 2025. Guys, another fine day here. It's going to be a little warm in central Mississippi, but it is nice. A little dry, but we can make it through that. What we're looking at now is what's going on in D.C. and really across the nation today. And it's saying over 100,000 federal employees expected to quit Tuesday amid government shutdown. The largest exodus in U.S. history as Trump moves to finally drain the swamp. Now, we talked about this, I think, during the last shutdown, how this would work. But guys, they're going to vote today, and if they decide they want to get serious about voting instead of lollygagging back and forth all day, scratching their head and their butt, then we may cover it. But after yesterday, I just don't know. We're going to see if they're serious about working, because I'm not serious about wasting my time watching them waste theirs and ours. Anyway, to me, if they shut down the government today, it would be a good thing. Why? Because you got 100,000 federal employees that are about to be drained out of the swamp. That puts taxpayer money back into the coffers for other things, and it gets a lot of the deep state out. Plus, these government shutdowns, they try to scare the American public, guys, when they do this every year. And really what's happening is there's no reason to be scared. I've looked through it, and I put it up in the video yesterday. Social Security, Medicare, all of that's going to be fine. That's not affected by this. Other things are. But if it means draining the swamp and getting rid of some of the overload, the pork, then it's all a good thing. I don't care if they shut it down, especially when it affects that certain group of people that need to go out and get a real job anyway. It says these 100,000 federal employees are expected to resign imminently under the Trump administration's sweeping deferred resignation program. This mass exodus is essentially to finally drain the swamp and reinserting presidential control over a bloated, uncomfortable federal machine. Now, a lot of people were making a big deal about the 800 generals coming to D.C. and all of that, or to Quantico, excuse me. But guys, I watched a little bit of it, and Hegseth basically told from the newest recruit to the highest general that you're going to get back in physical shape. Twice a year, you're going to do PT tests, and daily, he wants all of you. He does not want to see, he said, I don't want to see any fat generals walking down the halls of the Pentagon. So that's going to kind of create a little pressure on some of those people, too, to maybe decide to get on out of their way. Anyway, this mass exodus is essential to finally draining the swamp and reasserting the presidential control. Last week, the Office of Personnel Management, the OPM, reportedly circulated internal guidance to agencies warning them to prepare for waves of deferred resignations and reductions in force should Congress fail to approve full appropriations. Agencies were told to begin drafting separation and reduction in force, called RIF plans, targeting non-essential positions. The offer that they promised continued salary and benefits through September 30th. Now that's today. If workers left voluntarily, but only if they signed away legal rights and accepted the exit by a looming deadline. By mid-February, approximately 75,000 federal employees had signed the exit agreement. Now, as the Trump White House prepares for a new wave, more than 100,000 additional workers are expected to depart today, making this breakaway the largest one-day drop in the federal workforce history. It needed to be. We were so bloated and repetitious and overlapping in everything that we did that we actually got nothing done. Workers preparing to leave the government as part of the resignation program, one of several pillars of Donald Trump's sweeping cuts to the Fed workforce, have described how months of fear and intimidation left them feeling like they had no choice but to depart. We don't need a bunch of crybabies up there either, guys. Federal workers stay for the mission. When the mission is taken away, when they're scapegoated, when their job security is uncertain, and when their tiny semblance of work-life balance is stripped away, they leave. A longtime employee at the Federal Emergency Management at FEMA said that's why they left. Guys, they weren't doing their job. They wanted to go DEI and LGBT on everything, flags, everything. The total number of expected departures through the delayed resignation and voluntary separation programs, attrition, and early retirement programs is about 275,000 employees, the spokesman said. Several thousand of additional federal workers have been fired as part of the reduction in force mandates ordered by the administration. The mass exodus is the largest single-year decline in civilian federal employment since the Second World War. It was way bloated. Federal employees who took the deferred resignation often requested to speak anonymously in hopes of returning to the federal government in the future and to protect future job prospects. We need less job prospects on our tax dollar. And all of these thousands of people that are leaving or getting deferred or whatever, they could go into the workforce and actually contribute into the tax base instead of taking away from it and sitting idly on the hands in D.C. Look at the Senate and the Congress. That is the most useless bunch of idiots I've ever seen. They walk around all day, get very little done, and then brag about it. I don't know how that makes sense. It says already early moves have targeted traditional, liberal, or expansive agencies. The U.S. Agency for International Development, we call USAID, has seen nearly all its Washington-based staff placed on leave, with office access revoked and operations severely curtailed. Perfect. Meanwhile, numerous agencies have been ordered to design reorganization plans and reduce overlapping departments and shrink management layers. That is draining the swamp. So again, if they decide to get real on the vote, we're going to go live with that. If they just want to play, then we're not going to waste our time. But this is important in the fact that we are draining the swamp. When you get a couple 100,000 people with a real job, with real checks, not on the taxpayer dime, that should help the economy, right? Sounds like it to me. But guys, we are watching this, and watch for a live feed if these guys seem to be serious. We'll see. I kind of doubt it, but we're going to watch. It's a heads up, guys. Be safe.